What's up, y'all, and welcome back to another how-to solo Flawless guide. Today we're going to be looking at the Duality Dungeon, which came out in May 2022, and you've had over 1,050 days to complete this dungeon, but today is the day you said, I'm going to do something about that. In this guide, we're going to be going over all of the weapons and builds that we decided to use for our solo Flawless. Additionally, we're going to be covering every encounter for tips and tricks, as well as potential friction areas while you're on your run. Before we get into the build, I want to say thank you to the viewer. We recently hit over 150 subscribers on the channel, which is freaking awesome. So if you like these videos, feel free to give us a like, subscribe. If you got any questions live, feel free to join us over on the Twitch channel. We are live 3 nights a week, maybe even more. We try to keep our schedules pretty consistent, so if you have any questions on Destiny or any kind of game in general, feel free to stop on by and ask us any questions. We'd love to answer them for you. The build we used to solo Flawless the Duality Dungeon in 2025 was the Striker Arc Titan, specifically the Thunder Crash Titan, with Rally Barricade, High Lift, Thunderclap, Pulse Grenade, Storm's Keep, Knockout, and for our fragments we have selected Spark of Shock, Spark of Feedback, Spark of Resistance, and Spark of Frequency. For our weapons of choices, we have gone with the Scatter Signal Fusion Rifle, the Reckless Oracle Auto Rifle, and the Anarchy Grenade Launcher. For our armor, we have selected the Insurmountable Skull Fort as our exotic of choice, with mods specifically catering to that. So that's Hands-On, Heavy Ammo Finder, Heavy-Handed, Void Loader, Concussive Dampener, Double Solar Resistance, Recuperation, Arc Weapon Surge, Arc Scavenger, and for our mark we have selected Bomber, Powerful Attraction, and Reaper. As a note on the weapons I selected, in the background gameplay you might be seeing some different weapons pop up. I was testing some things out that I was seeing if they would work. At the end of every encounter, I always had this build set up, so just start with this. Don't test around like I was. Very quickly, we're going to be going over the main mechanic of the dungeon, which is seen in every encounter, which is the bells. Yes, they are buggy. Feel free to leave that in the comments. That's fine. We know they're buggy. But you can shoot these bells anywhere you want in the normal realm. These will not impact you negatively. What's going to happen is when you shoot the bell in the normal world, you will be transported into the Nightmare realm. This should be all red. There should be Galrons, there should be shadows running at you in this realm. At the top of your screen, you're going to have a Nightmare collapsing timer counting down. If this reaches 0, you guessed it, yes, you die. In order to prevent this from going to 0, you need to actively engage in the encounter itself. This will give you a few seconds at most, so if you're doing the encounter correctly, you get time added. And if you're doing the encounter incorrectly, you're losing time. So be sure to correctly shoot and kill the right targets. Otherwise, you guessed it, you die. After loading into the dungeon, you'll talk to Eris, and you'll have a brief traversal section, should last you 3 to 4 minutes, and then you'll get to the first encounter. How the first encounter works, again, uses these bells to go in and out of the Nightmare realm. At the start of the encounter, you're going to have 2 bells active to shoot. One's going to be up a staircase, and the other one should be directly behind you. Now, there's going to be 4 rooms in this encounter that you may need to go in, and those are the Sun, Chalice, Axe, and Dog rooms. And how this encounter works is when you go into the Nightmare realm, you need to check to see if there are Scions in these rooms. If there is, you need to kill them and then pick up the standard essence that they drop. Now, there's only 2 at any given time, so with 4 rooms, you only need to check a few of them. Use your mini-map in the top left. You'll get a pretty good idea of where these Scions are located. Again, there's only 2, so once you kill the Scion, you should get a brief timer extension added to the Nightmare collapsing timer. Once you've collected both standards inside the Nightmare realm, then you can proceed back to the normal realm. Now, it's important every time in this dungeon you're going back to the normal world from the Nightmare realm, you need to stand very close to the bell. Otherwise, you guessed it, you die. Once you're back into the normal realm, you can place one of the standards at the door that designates to that standard. So for instance, I had sun and axe, therefore I could dunk the axe or sun standard into the correct place. You can't really mess this up, so just dunk the one that is saying on your screen with the buffs. Once you dunk the buff into the correct spot, you'll have to take out the bell keepers as well to activate the bell. Shoot the bell from within the room to get visions of Galron all around you. This is a good chance for you to use your knockout punch or your scatter signal fusion rifle to clear these rooms pretty quick. It should just be a real quick tap with the melee button. So once you've completed and killed all of the Galron shadows, you need to go and kill the bell keepers again to open up the bell to the main or normal world. Once you've completed all that, you can go back to the normal realm and do this with your other standard. Once you've completed your second standard's placement, or I guess Galron run, you will then begin damage phase. Upon starting damage phase, I would say open up with the Thunder Crash ability. This should get you close enough to the boss. Then you can begin using your Rally Barricade, Anarchy, and Scatter Signal to do the real damage that you're going to be doing. As a tip, I would say just be mindful of the Nightmare Collapsing timer at the top of your screen. It is very easy to get sidetracked and focused on the boss here. Leave a few seconds to get back to the bell to go back to the normal realm. As a tip, I would say make sure your weapon is reloaded. I have had a run where it was ended because I did not have a reloaded weapon to shoot the bell. So reload your weapon, go to the bell, give yourself a few seconds. That should really cover it for the first encounter. Repeat this cycle as many times as you need to. I believe I did this in 3 phases, and that's because the first phase I didn't use the correct weapons. After that, I switched to the Anarchy and Scatter Signal, and I was cruising. So after you've done that, you can proceed through a short traversal section to get to the second encounter of this dungeon. Now that you're to the second encounter of this dungeon, if you've mastered the mechanics in the first encounter here, you are going to be very well off. The only change in mechanic that happens here is instead of side rooms with scions, you need to go down lanes and kill captains. So it's not a huge change, just make sure you're going down the correct one. Now, to know which is the correct one, you need to make sure at the very beginning or before a boss fight, you can see in the middle of the room which standards you need to grab. So, for example, if it says sun, okay, now I know it's sun, I need to find the sun lane. Now, in the corners of the room, you can see the symbols on the inside, or I guess the outside of the door. So we'll do a quick screenshot here to show you what that looks like. Now, each corner of the room, they're going to have a different area that it covers. So axe, dogs, sun, and chalice. Again, just make sure you're going down the right ones. For each boss, before you can do damage, you'll need to collect 2 standards and dunk them. So you can dunk them one at a time. If you're feeling brave, you can go for 2. As a tip, I would say just go for 1. It's much safer. You'll do a few more runs to get it, but in total, it's 6 safer runs instead of 3 dangerous runs. So, as a reminder, go down the correct lane. That's how the mechanic works. Shoot the bell keepers on the way back, and then go back into the normal realm. Dunk your standard, damage the boss. You'll have to damage and kill 3 bosses in this encounter. They're not very beefy, but there are a lot of ads that spawn, so be sure to have something that does good ad control, as well as can do some damage as well. That's why I kind of opted to do the Anarchy grenade launcher. I could close off doors if needed, or shoot the boss with them either. So after you've done this 3 times, you'll be moving on to the final boss after a short traversal section. Now that you're at the final boss, again, if you've mastered the mechanics in the first 2 encounters of this dungeon, you will be totally fine in this part as well. When you load in, you're going to see there's going to be 4 symbols again. It's the same 4 symbols we've seen the whole time: axes, dogs, suns, and chalices. You'll see those in the corners of the room. Now, they look like little balconies. When you go into the Nightmare Realm, that's where Scions are going to be. Now, every time you go into the Nightmare Realm, there will always be a Scion there. But, as the second encounter showed us, you need to kill the correct one. So, in order to know the correct Scion to kill, go to the front of the room. There's going to be 4 standard locations to dunk. They should be showing you which ones to grab. For instance, you could have something along the lines of dog and axe. Now you know that you need to kill the dog Scion and the axe Scion. You can shoot the bell, go to that Scion, eliminate him, take the standard. You can easily get both standards here in this one, so I would say just get 2 at a time, and then go back to the main world. Again, there's a lot of ads when you go into the Nightmare Realm. I believe there's 2 lieutenants trying to slow you down as well. You don't have to kill too many ads, just make sure you kill the 4 bell keepers that are in the Nightmare Realm to go back to the real world. Once you're in the real world, dunk your 2 standards, and then 2 more standards should be popping up. Again, use your melee abilities, use your Reckless Oracle to get overshield as well as instant health regeneration. This is pretty much the bread and butter for this whole encounter. Now, you could easily use a Strand class here for the Titan and get Banner of War, but it's more consistent to me to have that knockout ability always ready. Once you've gone back into the Nightmare Realm and gathered your last 2 standards and gone back to the real world, you can start damage. So you can shoot the chains to begin damage phase. The chain will kind of retract and then hit the main bell in the center of the room. It is now time to start damaging Keitel. But when you go into the Nightmare Realm, there will be 6 sets of Bell Keepers. Be sure to keep an eye on which lane Keitel goes down. Now there's 3 lanes, left, middle, and right. And Keitel will choose one of those directions to go down first. So if the Keitel is going down the left lane first, be sure to run over to the left side, kill the Bell Keepers, and then shoot the bell when Keitel is probably about 10 to 15 meters away. There's a pretty big area that it works, but if you do it too far out, she won't get stunned. Once Keitel is stunned, begin using the Thunder Crash abilities as well as Anarchy and Scatter Signal. This should last probably about 10 to 15 seconds. So once that happens, Keitel will be going to the next one of 2 areas. So now either the middle or the right side. Here, it doesn't really matter if you kill the Scions or not, but they will be shooting you the whole time. I suggest taking them out when you can. Don't make it a top priority. Do it on the long stretches of Keitel. So if she's running from the left all the way to the right, or from left to middle, or there's a long stretch, you still have some time to do some ad clearing if absolutely needed. But as long as you're taking good cover, using your rally barricades, you should be pretty fine here. And that's really about it. Rinse repeat this cycle as many times as you need. This fight's not as hard as it used to be. Use your knockout abilities to get your health regen. Use your guns to get repulsor brace going as well. You're gonna be fine. Take your time, don't rush it. Occasionally Keitel cannot get stunned, or you can die to a bell. It happens. Roll with the punches. You got this. I believe in you. You should believe in you. If you've liked this video, I want to say thanks for stopping by. Be sure to like, subscribe. Follow us over on Twitch. We're live 3 nights a week. We'd love to have you over there live, talking in real life, instead of me talking to nobody. Peace and love, y'all.